What is agility? And I have a very simple definition, which is that business agility, corporate agility, is your capacity to adapt quickly to changes in your business environment. Look, the world is changing before our eyes because of digital changes, because of macroeconomic shocks, and we as a business have to figure out a way of adapting to those changes, to weather the storms of change, to weather the gales of creative destruction. There are three basic organizing models, concepts, that you can apply. The classic concept here is bureaucracy. What is a bureaucracy? It's organizing through standardized rules and procedures. And the word bureaucracy sometimes has a negative connotation, but in my worldview, it's not negative, it's not positive, it's simply an organizing model which focuses on following the rules. And there are many very successful bureaucracies in the world. A lot of government ministries are bureaucracies. A lot of aspects of large banks and insurance companies and accountancy firms are bureaucracies, and correctly so. The second model is called meritocracy. And what is a meritocracy? It's an organizing model in which we are privileging, not putting first, we're privileging knowledge over position. In a meritocracy, we are rewarding talent. We are deliberately trying to find the smartest people, the people who are the best at a particular thing, giving them more opportunities and getting them involved in the decisions that need to be made. In a meritocracy, we deliberately gather together the right brains, the right technologies to make a decision. We don't just listen to the chief executive. And a meritocracy is a very powerful model. It's a very attractive model. Most of us, I suspect, would say we like the idea of working in a meritocracy. But there are a couple of problems with a meritocracy. One of the problems with a meritocracy is that by definition it is privileging the knowledge of the people who are already successful. In other words, it is saying the knowledge that they've gathered over the course of their careers is the knowledge that we are going to decide is important. And of course, the trouble is that as the market moves on, as the world moves on, what the world needs in the future may or may not be actually the stuff that our experts who made their careers earlier in their life are actually bringing to the table. So there's a risk that we use the wrong knowledge. And there is a second risk with the meritocracy, which is that it's incredibly slow moving. In a meritocracy, everything has to be decided by a committee. We have to give some serious thought to the third option, which is the ad hocracy. This is not a word that I invented. It's a word that was invented, I believe, by Warren Bennis, the leadership guru. And the ad hocracy simply is an organizing model where we are privileging action over knowledge or position. But when we don't know the right way forward, we are going to do something. We're going to act. We're going to experiment. We're going to talk to our customers. We're going to try something out rather than debate it endlessly or just follow the rules that have been set up before. And you can also think of ad hocracy in terms of a basic mindset, the way that you look at the world. So I took a classic example today of a company which is continuously showing itself to be very agile, which is Amazon. Remember, Amazon is 500,000 employees nowadays, and yet Amazon continues to behave in a way that actually looks a little bit like a startup. And they're doing it through a set of management principles that you see on the list here. And this set of management principles, I mean, I didn't invent this list. This is really literally off their website. When you look at that list, what you realize is that many of those principles are what I am calling ad hocracy related. I'm not going to go through the list in detail. Let me just pick out a couple of examples. Obsession with our customer. Simplifying and inventing new things. Learning and curious. A bias for action. Frugality means essentially trying to do things as cheaply as possible. And then right at the bottom here, we have this beautiful concept which Jeff Bezos, the chief executive, calls disagree and commit. He says in many companies, the way that you get your project approved is essentially to wear down the opposition to that project. You keep coming back to it. You keep telling people that it's a good idea, and eventually they say, fine, we'll let you do it. We don't really believe in it, but we'll let you do it anyway. Bezos says that's a lousy way of making a decision. What we should be doing is saying, I disagree with what you're trying to do here, but I'm prepared to commit to helping you to try it out in order that we can figure out quickly whether it's a good idea, whether it's a bad idea, and then we can move on. Sometimes less is more. Fewer structures are better.